What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today's video is going to be back on the Yamaha Zuma 70cc big bore kit. Pretty much, yeah, we've taken a cheap China big bore kit. We had this big board in the past with the Polini Sport. Awesome, reliable kit. I think it lasted like 5 years or something like that. And yeah, we beat the snot out of this thing. It was wrecked multiple times, not by me once again. I did pretty good on this thing. But yeah, it's been through hell, guys, needless to say. And I just want to get in here and just do some performance stuff to these kits. More than likely, Junior's got one on the way too for his Cologne engine over here. But more than likely, we're going to have several of these cylinder kits. So if we blow it up, we blow it up. We're going to kind of twist around and try different things, and we can all kind of experience it together on a dyno back here. First thing we're going to do is kind of set it up as kind of like a stunter little wheelie machine to have some fun right out of the hole. And then I got some ideas of maybe opening it up to the exhaust port duration and putting a nasty race pipe on there and really trying to make some power. But we got to keep where we want to make the power in mind, guys, right? Because the port timing numbers are everything to match the pipe. Come on back here and take a look at some of these cylinders, guys. So we have our array of cylinders, and like I said, Junior's got his Cologne engine back here. We hear the whole time, and some of my junk I have. We had a, what was it, an Eton Beamer? Allegedly, it's a Minrelli, I guess, Cologne engine for the Zuma. So we're looking for another one. The one we had is kind of rusted up and stuff. The engine and everything was just seized. Everything looks good with it. So we just got to get some new parts, and he's got a big bore kit on the way. And if I like the big bore kit, might end up getting another one for this, because we're going to be grinding away on this cylinder today, guys. So we may or may not like the outcome with matching this pipe. Obviously, we only have two different pipes we were fooling with. But anyhow, guys, here is the Polini cylinder and some info I just wanted to share with you guys. See if I can shed some light on the situation here a little better. Pretty much between like the stock bore cylinder and the 70cc cylinder, the port timing numbers appear to be pretty similar. I'm getting 24 millimeters from the top of the exhaust to the top of the cylinder here. So to get a reference without pulling timing numbers, guys, just measuring some measurements for us to take notes, I would assume this has probably got 160 to 170 degree exhaust duration on this, but we will maybe pull some timing numbers on his engine in one of these videos coming up. So yeah, as I said, the port timing numbers all look to be pretty spot on. I even measured the transfers and everything, and I was getting 32 millimeter from the top of the transfer to the top of the cylinder itself. So that just tells me one thing, guys. It tells me that the port timing numbers, even on the big bore kits, are not much different. A little bit bigger transfers, you can see there, the upper transfers. Even up. This is the original OEM Zuma, and they all look to be rather similar in size, exhaust port wise, guys. Now look at this. Here is a really dirty OEM. This is one I pulled off my Zuma. Look at the round exhaust port, kind of a roundish like this. Now his Cologne one, everything looks the same. Looks like all the bolt pattern, everything looks good. Cylinder height, all that jazz. Look how squared off that exhaust port is that came on. So I would willing to bet that would make a little bit of difference of how it runs. It's probably not going to be a whole lot, but that's interesting to me. And then if you look at Polini's exhaust port, much better looking than the one I put on the bike. The one I put on the bike is pretty much the same shape and everything. It just, you could see the round curvature on the exhaust port was messed up on that other cylinder, and we're going to clean that up when we get into it today, guys. So, yeah, I could go on and kind of get off task here of exhaust port shapes, trajectory of the upper transfers, all that jazz, guys. But we're going to take it one video at a time. What I want to do is pull this cylinder off. We're striving to beat 7 horsepower, and obviously with this pipe setup, guys, I'm only going to be able to go so far with maybe raising horsepower without losing my ass on bottom end, guys. And I have to stay in the proper harmonics with this pipe and everything. So there's limitations on getting in here and what I'm going to do. And so long story short, we're gonna pull the cylinder, guys, do a little bit of port work. I got some stuff in mind. We're not going to do nothing too crazy. Like I say, we want to stay in the parameters of the pipe. The pipe's gonna look for certain RPM and stuff on that pipe, and I'll show you back here where we're hitting pretty good, pretty commonly. So we don't want to go too out far of the rim of that pipe, but I think we could squeak past 7 horsepower. I think we got it all day long, guys. So a pair of the quality Polini sport cylinder and exhaust ports, and get some measurements off of the China cylinder, China 70cc cylinder, and then go from there, guys. Pull up some dyno graphs for you guys real quick here. We'll take a look at where we started with the stock OEM carburetor big bore kit, China big bore kit, and where we ended up. I've done a lot of jetting on this thing. I've done some pipe configurations. We'll talk about that here in a second, guys. Had a cheaper pipe off of, it was meant for a Yamaha jog, which is a similar engine. And then I had I forget what kind of pipe this is here that I bought for it originally, and that's been the best pipe hands down, guys. All right, guys, here's a look of where we started on the best jetting, the best power we were putting down on the OEM carburetor right there, guys. And we were banging out about 5.8 horsepower. Now we have this bike up to 6.84 horsepower, 6.7, 6.8, or the last 2 pulls I had on it the other day. Now, speaking of that, I could go on for days, guys, and I hope I'm not getting too windy. But speaking of that, you know, this morning it is so humid. It feels like it's going to snow. It's so humid. We're up to, what is it? The humidity got a little better, guys, 69%. It was like 74 in here, and plus I threw some heat in here a little bit ago too for a little while here on the turbo heater back here. But so jetting is definitely way rich. We ended up on a 115 main to make that power, but hands down this morning, I'm not gonna lie, we were doing several pulls and staying right around 6 horsepower. And what that is, guys, is just it's jetting. It's really, really humid compared to when we pulled that the other day. It's so thick. It's getting a little better out there. It was really, really foggy. You couldn't see 50 yards, but now it's clearing up, sun's coming out. So we'll leave the 115 in it for now, do some pulls when we get the cylinder back on. But yeah, guys, so we're doing pretty good. We started out around 5.8 on the stock carb, did the PWK 21 mil upgrade, jetted that, and we got a little bit longer stinger back here, and pretty much we're ready to almost break 7 horsepower, guys. Like I say, we're going to be limited with this pipe. All right, let's talk about where I was. This was a pipe that I've gotten a while ago off of eBay. It's like your cheap expansion pipe for like, I don't know, 80 bucks or so on eBay, wherever you can pick one up. It's got the little blue silencer and stuff on it. I think it was meant for a Yamaha jog. This bike, you know, I kept staring at the original pipe and the original sport pipe I put on there, and I thought, well, this is a little bit fatter pipe. Let's try it and see if it hits any better down low. And I had longer stingers on like this and shorter, and it just didn't like anything I threw at it. I tried my hardest to get it up there in the 6 horsepower range, and we flat out could not do it on that pipe, guys. This pipe here was Gianelli, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look and read it myself. Extra 2 pipe. I'll post a picture, guys. This pipe hits really, really well on the 70cc. I mean, I'll be honest, guys, this thing is running like a raped ape. It reminds me of running like a dirt bike. As far as the CVT goes, we'll have to get to that too, guys. I can't quite remember. Like I said before, I'm not really up to this scooter stuff and CVT transmissions. I've done work on them in the past. Obviously, that's just not something I do every day, and it's, you know, something I have to reacclimate myself to even getting around to doing. But anyhow, it's loving this pipe. It's liking this pipe. We have the stock cylinder on there. We're going to pull that off. We didn't do anything else but put this pipe on and the PWK, which is awesome, guys. I said it before. I'll say it again. Get yourself a Kean and you will not regret it, especially a PWK. Yeah, so first and foremost, we're going to pull it off and see what we can do and try to favor where we want to keep this bike fun and riding. We're going to try to get out here and rip some wheelies around town and see what kind of fun we can have even back in the trails and stuff. It's an absolute ripper, guys, 100%. I've always been a big fan of PWK. Every time I put them on other bikes, they just run awesome. They tune easy. Like these style carbs back here, you can get right to the main jet just by unscrewing a little cap and O-ring, and you're in there. You can even sneak the idle jet out sometimes. But I'll quit running my jabs, guys. Just wanted to fill everybody in because I did do a lot of testing. You guys have no idea. You got to understand that dyno testing and doing all this tuner style stuff, it just takes so much of your time, and to bring you guys along to do all that, just I wouldn't have got that much info. Did I gain much off the longer stinger? No, I don't think it gained a whole lot, just a little bit maybe on low end. It did. The longer stinger with that silencer, it's a KTM 50 silencer, did make it a hair bit louder. I do have a little bit larger outlet, and then it goes neck down and then into the KTM 50 silencer, guys. So it's kind of funny, just kind of testing stuff out, guys. Let's start pulling this cylinder off. All right, there's a look at the old Chinese. Take this gasket and bolt off here. The old Chinese 70cc big bore. Now, if you're looking close enough, that is the Polini Sport head that I had taken off to use on this cylinder. One, it's got an O-ring style head gasket, so we were able to seal that back up, which is nice. Should probably order a couple of those in. Anyhow, just wanted to give you guys a little shot. I'll get this 4 bolts off here. There's a look at the PWK back there, guys. I'm going to be looking for a V-Force 3 reeds to put on here, and we will do a before and after with dyno. On the RM85, when I did a V-Force 3 reeds, it did slightly lean out the bike and lose power. I did have to rejet on that, and they say that you shouldn't have to, but I found out that I did. Could have been weather conditions and multiple things, humidity and stuff like that, the day I did it. So yeah, so I want to see if I can get a 21 mil boot for this carb too. So I kind of just used that fitting there. I just think that would probably be a wise thing to do, but the carb isn't going anywhere. It's pretty stout sitting in there, guys. I do have a zip tie around the airbox just to hold it better under slight loads and vibration, etc. We'll get this cylinder off, guys. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty close. From what I remember, it's really, really close to the Polini with the port shape size and stuff. I would willing to bet we're going to be 24 mil from the top of the exhaust to the top of the cylinder again. So we'll see. We'll get the cylinder off here, guys, and get it back on the bench. All right, guys, have a look. There's the terrible design piston. Look at the freaking texture on the top of that piston there. This was the cheapest big bore I could find on Amazon, but guys, the piston is actually in pretty good shape. Now, as you can see, I dropped one of the rings. We are only running one piston ring. That's what I wanted to do. One, we're gonna lose rotating mass. That piston dropped in weight more than you think probably without that one ring there. And that's less parasitic drag. So that will make the engine work, essentially not work as hard. The other ring definitely would help with compression. But you gotta think, it's more drag, also more weight on that rotating mass. Let's check the cylinder out back here, guys. Well, surely it's a little glazed for sure. We'll fix that. Run the old ball hone on her a little bit after we get done doing a little port work here. But if I look into this, now you can see right there. You see that, guys? Let me try to get the, see, I get the white background in there. You see that? We're gonna oval that a little bit better. And we might even take like 0.2 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter off of this thing on the exhaust roof, and we're gonna get in there, sneak in. A trick of mine I've done, it works well in the past, is just sneak in there and widen that exhaust, and you don't have to really take too much off of the cylinder right here, just a little bit, and just widen this exhaust port up. I like the shape of that exhaust port. It's a favorable shape from the porting I've done with widening the exhaust. From my experience, that's favorable. We're gonna get in there and do a little work. Again, we're doing mild. If we can punch this thing over 7-ish horsepower and make it a fun machine in the trails and out there on the road to bump up some wheelies. Now, a lot of that can be CVT tuning too. I know that, guys. This one's set up pretty decent back here. I bought a Melosi kit when I first put the big bore kit on there. Do not ask me what gram rollers or any of that stuff. I think I do have a Melosi variator. I think the rear pulley, for lack of better terms, is an aftermarket one as well, a performance one. And I think I'm running the stock clutch and not sure which clutch springs. We'll get into the CVT in another video for sure, guys. And I'm sure as I keep making more power with this bike and maybe even getting another pipe, that's definitely going to have to be done. So that's one of the things that makes all this kind of tricky is the CVT tuning as well, guys. So let's get some measurements before we start porting, and we're going to compare this to the Pellini Sport real quick. 100% the lighting sucks. I know. Let me do something. All right, let's see if this helps. A little bit. So there's that exhaust port. And here's the, I need to give myself more room. All right, guys, I got a flashlight here. So here's the exhaust port on the cheap cylinder. I did hone this a little bit, and you see there's piston transfer. This Pellini cylinder, we're going to reuse it. It did blow up. It did snag a ring. We are going to try and get some acid on these aluminum markings, piston transfer, and bring this back to life for sure. But if you look, here's the China cylinder. It's really glazed up, guys. The porting is, the exhaust port looks damn near spot on. I could go get my bore gauges and stuff and get inside diameter, but we can see that it's pretty much the same. Let's measure the exhaust roof from the top of the exhaust port to the top of the cylinder and see if it's the same, which would mean it's pretty much mimicking all the same exhaust port duration. Guys, I just discovered something very, very interesting here. Take a look. Yeah, I'm back and forth and remeasuring stuff. I'm like, you can see this with the naked eye. So I have a 21 millimeter exhaust roof on this one. Not the size of the port, from the top of the port to the top of the cylinder, the stroke. Okay, when that exhaust port closes, that's your power stroke. Okay, look at this. Here's the Pellini. Look at that travel from the top of there. Now bump over. You guys see it? See the spacing? There's more of a stroke on this Pellini cylinder for sure. It definitely has lower port timing numbers. Man, so what is this? So we have 21 millimeter here on this one, guys. And take a look. I know the lighting sucks. Lighting really sucks here. 21 mil, right to the top there. Now look here. It don't look like much on camera, but that is definitely, you cannot see this. This would be trying to sneak a tripod in here some way, shape, or form, but it's kind of hard. You can't see it too well. Let me put it against the, see the gap there? That's a lot more port duration than you think, guys. 3 millimeter? You better believe it. Interesting stuff. Interesting. I'm excited now to see what see, Chinese, they're not stupid, guys. The quality might not be there, but they're not stupid. That might be why this thing was putting down pretty impressive numbers. Guys, I think we're just going to really just reshape that exhaust roof a little bit, and we're not going to raise it for sure. So this is interesting. This is so interesting, guys. 3 millimeter grinding an exhaust roof out. That will be a noticeable difference. Now, that being said, we're base gasket deleting here. We're striving for the retarding the port timing numbers like the Pellini. So it'll be interesting. So long story short, this freaking China cylinder back here actually has a higher exhaust roof, which is going to shed more, lean towards more top end power. It's got me really, really curious on port durations and getting it on the wheel. We're not going to do that in this video. Obviously, we don't have to do that for the little bit of port work that we're going to do, and it may not even shed a whole lot of material for the dyno. We're going to find out. Obviously, with this high humidity, we're going to have to rejet this thing, but that's so interesting to me, guys. Yeah, this kind of slowed me down here. So we have the 5000 space gasket on here, and what I was going to do is just alleviate that and Honda bond it up, and this is going to drop the port timing numbers down. Like I said, it's going to retard the port timing, and that will get us in the ballpark of the Pliny numbers more than likely. Well, not 5000s, but it will definitely drop. It will definitely retard the timing just a little bit. But that's so interesting, guys. So we can work with this Pliny cylinder too. Get another piston, another top end for this thing, and we will definitely work with this cylinder too. It'd be interesting to bolt this back on and just see what it does stock compared to this Chinese cylinder. They're not being stupid when they're putting these out. Yes, the quality is probably not there. Obviously, you see the piston. If they could just do a little bit better on the piston quality, surely it would be something that y'all might want to think about getting. Now, like I say, I'm running the quality Pliny cylinder head on this thing. Why? Because it's reusable O-ring. Well, hopefully it seals up again for us. It should, but that's so interesting. Anyhow, I'm just babbling on. Wanted to show you guys that. Junior's getting another cylinder kit in for his, and we did get a different company. I was kind of examining the pictures, and I thought, well, this one was like $20 more. It was like a $50 kit. This one we had was only $38. So yeah, there's that. I think not including shipping. But anyhow, it cost a little bit more. Looked like the quality might have been a little better with the piston. We'll see. It might be the exact same cylinder that shows up. Who knows? It just looked better in the pictures anyway. So we'll start getting this geared up for some port work. I'm going to measure this base gasket again now that it's been compressed. So we'll really get an idea in our notes how much we are going to retard this cylinder. And I'll keep in mind when we put our layer of Honda bond on here and put it back on, that'll probably be like 2000s or so. So it's not going to be nothing too crazy, but it will ever so slightly retard the port timing numbers. Alright guys, so here's a look at what I'm doing. I'm just flowing in these lower transfers here. If you can see that blunt edge there, we don't want that. We want that case being on there. And we want that fuel charge not hitting this. You know, if it's hitting this blunt edge, it's going to not flow efficiently, right? It's not always about, you know, the one thing that works. It's about all the little things that work, right, with doing this. So I'm getting rid of that blunt edge. If you look at a lot of your quality dirt bike cylinders, race bikes, they're 100% going to look like that. So keep that in mind. They're doing it for performance for a reason. There's a ton of things you can get into with this and where you want the power. We obviously don't want to hog out these lower transfers too much. We want to keep the velocity kind of up on this, especially if we're trying to make this a wheelie bike, guys. We don't want to get too crazy with opening these up. Now, if we're getting a pipe for higher RPM and start to really raise the exhaust roof, come back and do this again, yeah, we're going to hog these out. We're 100% going to hog out the lower thing. But I just wanted to show you guys real quick, you know, how I'm blending that in there. That's all I'm going to do to the lower, pretty much, is just shape that in, guys. And we're going to start chomping away at the exhaust port. And we're going to do a little bit of intake work. We're going to straighten this up a little bit there. See how ugly that is, guys. I might just smudge away at the floor of that intake. And that's going to be it, guys. And we're going to go in here and reshape that exhaust roof that looks every bit of horrible there, and just kind of just barely take a little bit of material off the exhaust roof, and then we're going to widen the exhaust just a little bit, guys. Yeah, just trying to explain to my little buddy here how I can't get over how they raise the exhaust roof on this thing. You know, it's kind of crazy, but we're real curious to see what his cylinder is going to be setting at once it comes in. And I was trying to explain him the theory, how you can gain power raising the exhaust. But we got to keep in mind, right? I've said it, what, my past 3 videos, where you gain, you lose, you gain. You got to keep that in mind. There's also a balancing effect for sure. He's learning. That attention span, you know how that is when they're that young, but he's learning. Let's get back in this cylinder here and start porting away, guys. Just wanted to show you guys, I've been grinding away. Just touched in there with a little bit of widening of the exhaust. We're not going to worry about polishing. Guys, you ain't gaining a whole lot doing that. And yeah, if you're going to sell your product to somebody or sell your cylinder, you want to go the extra mile. Yeah, I could make that look like a mirror. Just a lot of extra time. It's mainly port shape and what you're doing with the port. We got in there and knocked a lot of that rough texture off. Best we're going to do there. We definitely shaped the top of that exhaust a lot better now. It doesn't have that unsymmetrical little line. It's like it just wasn't cut right from the factory. And I think we're about done with that, guys. We're not going crazy. We're definitely not going to go crazy. I'm going to get in here and work on the intake a little bit. And like I say, all we're doing is going to clean up the bottom of that. You can't see it because I got metal everywhere now, but it was really rough. So we're going to fine edge that. Just take a little bit off the bottom there, and then we're going to work on these upper transfers. All right, guys, we got the porting done. And I just want to show you guys real quick, we did the lower transfers. We didn't hog anything out. We did blade the inner portion there a little bit, but other than that, we didn't go all the way down. Cleaned up the boost port, worked on the lower ridge of the intake. We widened the exhaust. Just came through and touched up the exhaust roof because you all seen how messed up that was. Let's see if we can get this on camera, guys. If you ever want to see how your transfers are flowing, there's your primaries kicking back there. See how they're kicking back? There's the primaries. Now we did do some primary transfer work. We opened the windows up a little bit. Didn't change any duration. And there's the secondaries. See how they're shooting back towards, and then here's your boost port. That boost port angle, watch how that shoots into the combustion chamber. See that? Shoots straight up towards the top of the combustion chamber there. Really steep angle on the boost port angle there on this cylinder. Check it out. I mean, most cylinders are like that anyway, with your dirt bike cylinders and stuff. If you want to see how your transfer ports are flowing, just get the old sink going, man, and water flowing, and hit your primaries and stuff there. Flowing pretty good, and this one kind of shoot the same direction, just kind of more straight across. And then here's the boost port. Can't really see it on camera, but it is a pretty steep angle shooting up towards the combustion chamber. And there's that, guys. Go out in the shop, take a look at this thing. Get ready to bolt this thing back on soon. Remember, we're going to minus the base gasket. We're going to Honda bond all this up. Drop the port timing numbers ever so slightly and see if this thing maybe will hammer a little bit better down low with retarding the numbers. We will gain a little bit of compression too off of dropping the cylinder down because we're going to be closing the squish gap a little bit, which we had room to do because this was a pretty sloppy squish gap on this. Here's the final product. I say product. I'm selling it to you. You will buy this cylinder because it's going to be a mega stunner cylinder. I'm fooling myself. Had to have an outburst. But as you can see, guys, the top of the exhaust roof don't have that blunt edge anymore, that little straight edge, like it was just casted wrong. If you can look, we widened the exhaust, all that looks all pretty good. We chamfered everything. You got to get your finger in there, guys, and make sure nothing is really sharp on each one of those ports you did work on. You come over here to the primary transfer. You can see we opened that wall a little bit on that. We didn't go a whole lot, and we did the same thing for the other side. We pretty much got in there and just widened the transfer window just a little bit, kept the same angle, didn't change any angles. You can get into changing angles too with where you want to put the power on these things too, guys. Sometimes you can cross angle them too. It's interesting. If you haven't already heard or seen anything about any of Eric Gore's books, I highly recommend it. And the Two-Stroke Tuner's Handbook, for sure, hands down. Something you should be reading if you want to learn. Got some crappiness in there still. It's not the most beautiful exhaust out here, but we did open that all up a little bit and get all the garbage. It feels better than it looks, guys, 100%, but we're about ready. We're going to do some final cleanup here, run a paper towel through here a bunch, make sure we get all the little micro deposits out of this cylinder, because if not, you're just going to send them right to your bearings, scar your piston up, and do all kinds of unwanted damage. All right, guys, we got the Polini cylinder head on there on the Chinese cylinder. She's ported. We have a thin layer. If you look closely, you can see it a little bit thin layer of Honda Bond all the way around. Gonna let that set up for a few minutes. Blast the heater on this cylinder a little bit here, and then we'll torque it down, guys. We'll have to wait, give it quite a few hours before we can actually run the engine. We don't want to blow an air leak for this video right off the bat. So we're gonna try to be patient and get everything back together, get everything torqued down here and give it some time, and then we'll do some testing, guys. Alright guys, so real quick here, I just want to show you all what I'm doing. I went ahead and pinged the stator to the case. Now this may have a timing mark on it. I don't think it does, but I'm sure it may. I looked in there, it's still a little dirty, needs cleaned up a little bit. But we're going to get in there and modify the stator plate so we can advance or retard the timing on this thing. And what I did was just put the screwdriver in there and then I pinged it. So when I go in to do this, I know how to put it back on stock timing. It's a pretty easy process. I might even come to find out, being uneducated with this style engine so far, that there is already a timing mark, which there very well could be. But that's just something you could do. And it's something we're gonna look into, is advancing the timing on this thing. I didn't get a really good plug read yet. I need to go back here and examine this plug and look for the timing strap. But we're gonna see if we can pull more time to break our 7 horsepower too, after we see how this port job does. Telephone? Who is it? Someone's calling us. Yeah, I got two-way radios back there, so yeah, something's going on. Somebody's playing around on the channel back there. Anyhow, guys, yeah, so that's that. Just wanted to show you. Obviously, the engine is rotating clockwise, so you want to move the stator plate itself counterclockwise to advance the timing. Just thought I'd show you guys. Just went back there, we confirmed we have 34,000 squish now, and we did have 38,000 squish, so it's just a simple aligning your solder up with the wrist pin and cranking it over. And if your solder's too big, you can always smash it down a little bit. You just got to make sure it's in there lined up perfectly. If it's off a little bit, you might have a little bit of trouble there. But yeah, so we got about 4 thousandths difference in squish. The base gasket was 5 Honda Bond, so that's pretty precise. We probably lost 1 thousandths on the Honda Bond. I usually say around 2 thousandths. So hopefully everything seals up, guys. We got Junior back here cleaning up the piston on the Minrelli 50 back here. Everything was just seized up. It's like you might have had carburetor issues, and like I said, whoever had it before. So he's going to try and get this thing going on the stock cylinder, stock piston at first, get it popped off. The CVT components were all rusted up. We cleaned a lot of that up. So trying to get another bike. The other bike's pretty rough, but we could still slam it in the chassis. The front wheel's locked up too, so we could still slam it in the chassis and play around with it, and maybe we'll get some bone stock numbers from his bike on the dyno too, guys. Yeah, so now it's just a matter of letting the Honda Bond set up, guys, and getting everything back together here, like I said before. So I'll let that go for quite a few hours before we get back here and do this, but fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed that everything works out here. So we definitely dropped down on the port timing a little bit. We lowered the exhaust aeration, so that should gain us more compression stroke there, driving that piston up. So that obviously we're gaining us a little torque. We're going to also throw in a little bit added compression there. So there's that too, guys. So we'll just see. Maybe it'll really like it, maybe it won't. Also, there's going to be road testing involved, guys. It's been really, really shitty weather. We had plans to get the pitters out today, and it's just so sloppy back here on the track right now. So that's not happening, obviously, guys. So we'll see you here soon, guys. We'll check back in once this all seals up, get everything back together, and we're going to see what kind of numbers we put down and hopefully do some road testing, guys. guys, now we're at a 125 main jet. Okay guys, here is pre-port work in the green. A little bit of a weird peak there, but that's okay. You could see that the power did shift, and that came from our exhaust port work for sure, guys. So hopefully it doesn't get out of, you know, harmonics with the exhaust system. Hopefully it still hits good with the pipe and everything, but it's feeling really good on the takeoff, and just hitting that throttle blip with the work we did, it just responds a lot faster. And I know for a fact that this thing ain't jetted right. So let's pull this 120 main out, guys, do a little more work, and let's go after the 6.84 horsepower, guys. We might have lost a little bit on the front side there, but that's okay. We're gonna pull timing on this thing very soon too, guys. All right, guys, a 120 main jet. So I got my carb spray, check that base, make sure it's not leaking. The way it's idling, I think it might be okay. And we're gonna keep an eye on the temperature. Okay? Thank you, Alright guys, looks like we gotta rejet this thing. It's raining and it's bogging out all the way up top. So hopefully we don't have an air leak. We're gonna check. All right, guys, needless to say, that's right about where we left off. We had to come into Thanksgiving holiday and pretty much had some stuff going on to where I couldn't finish up the dyno tuning. As you can see in the video, I started cleaning up to a 125 main jet and had to keep working down. And it took so much time to get there, guys. It took so much time to get there, pass after pass. I ended up being on a 105 main jet. I had to come down that far, guys, and I 100% know that there's more in this bike. We're on a 105 main at needle 1 position, so we really had to choke this thing up on the fuel, guys, and it's making 7.02 horsepower. So I think we could probably throw about a 100 main jet in here and set the needle back down to needle 3 position where it should be. Or needle 2, I've ran that a good bit too, guys, but you shouldn't be that far one way or the other, or your main jet's off, plain and simple. But guys, what I'm gonna do here also is pull up the graph where we started and where we finished, some differences in the pipes from the one pipe to the other pipe, guys, and some differences in the port work. Guys, I'm sorry I didn't get all this on camera. I tried my best, but it was a lot of on and off the dyno and test and tune that I just had to kind of rush in here or there before Thanksgiving. And happy Thanksgiving to you all, by the way. Let's pull up these graphs and take a look. So as you can see, we did beat our 7 horsepower threshold, guys. We did it. We did it. Yeah, so there's 2 things to look at here, guys. We shifted the power curve, the peak power curve on horsepower there up about 1,000 RPM. Well, guess what? That was because of the port work and raising that exhaust a little more than I anticipated, and widen the exhaust, guys. Widen the exhaust will gain RPM, and you will not lose as much of the power stroke because you're not raising the exhaust up.
So we got there, we did it, we beat 7 horsepower, we bumped up the RPM a little bit. I'm interested to see if maybe that other pipe would hit now, because pulling that up on the dyno, it liked a higher RPM hit, almost where our ported cylinder is now. So it would be interesting to put the other pipe back on. All right, here's a look at the eBay cheap pipe that I had on the bike. I tried several different silencers, stinger length, everything I threw at it before I ported this thing. The cylinder did not like it. It did not have a very good outcome. I took everything I had to get this thing right at 6 horsepower. Now, if you look at the extra V2, you can see the differences. You can see how that pipe likes to hit almost 2,000. What's that, about 18,000 RPM lower, give or take there. So you can just see the differences from one pipe to the other. And if you looked at that eBay style pipe, I looked at it and I thought, well, yeah, it's got a fatter expansion chamber. But if you looked at it close enough, it was kind of a shorter, fatter pipe. That would be why that pipe shifted higher RPM, because a longer pipe will hit better in the low to mid range for sure if you do your research. All right, back to the port work, guys. As you can see, we only yielded about a 2.3% gain, and there's definitely more. I ain't gonna say a whole lot more, but there's definitely a little more power I could probably pull out of this thing, because it is 100% not jetted spot on yet. It is very, very close, but not spot on yet. Like I say, I left off at the 105 main, and I had to go clean to needle 1 position to make this power. So I need to come down on the main jet for sure, guys. One thing to keep in mind, the bike will want way less fuel. You think a lot of times with performance you need more fuel, but I've had this happen time and time again to where you pour the cylinder and it wants less fuel. So long story short, guys, you're 100% going to have to prepare for some jetting. If you think your bike's spot on and you go and do some port work, you are going to have to change the jetting. I've had to do it every single time I've went in there and done port work. Well, that's going to be a wrap for this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you jump down there, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I'm thinking about getting that Polini Sport back on this bike and fooling around with that too, guys. But I'm sorry for this being a little butchered up towards the end here. I hope you understand. I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. We'll see you next time.